Most of us think we know what negotiation is, right? It's about haggling, it's about pushing, it's about persuading the other side to see things your way. But what if I told you that whole approach is, well, it's wrong, and it's exactly why so many deals fall apart. In this explainer, we're going to transform your approach, moving from a battle of wills to a strategic investigation.
So, let's kick things off with a story. Picture this. It's 1999. You've got Newell, this absolute master of efficiency, merging with Rubbermaid, a beloved and innovative brand. They even sell to the same big box stores. On paper, this deal was a slam dunk, a deal from heaven. So how on earth did it turn into a complete disaster that vaporized billions in shareholder value? What went wrong?
And here's the thing. That Newell Rubbermaid story isn't some rare exception. It's a huge warning sign. It brings up this critical question that echoes through boardrooms and contract talks everywhere. Why does so many smart, experienced people end up making terrible deals? It turns out the answer isn't bad luck. It's a series of common and often invisible mistakes.
Okay, so let's diagnose the problem. We're going to look at some fascinating research from James K. Sabinas at Harvard Business School, who identified 6 recurring habits that consistently derail negotiations, often without anyone even realizing it.
Let's break these down, because when you see them all together, a pattern really jumps out. First, we get tunnel vision. We focus only on our problem, not theirs. Then we bulldoze everything with price, ignoring other things that could create value. We argue our positions, the what I want, instead of exploring the underlying interests, the why I want it. And this one is wild. We search for common ground, but often it's our differences that create the most value. We also forget about our BATNA. That's your best alternative to a negotiated agreement, your walkaway plan. And finally, we're all guilty of skewed vision, interpreting everything in a way that just confirms what we already believe. See, these aren't just little tactical errors. They're symptoms of a totally wrong mindset.
So when you boil all those mistakes down, you get to this one simple core problem. Most of us negotiate like we're salespeople. We have our proposal, our product, and we think our job is just to persuade, to push, to sell them on our solution. But what if that's exactly the wrong way to think about it?
Right. So if being a seller is the problem, what's the solution? It's a really powerful mental shift. An idea from negotiators Deepak Malhotra and Max Bazerman. It's all about becoming less of a salesperson and way more of an investigator.
And this right here, this comparison captures the whole shift. The seller is focused on telling and persuading. Their focus is on their side of the table. But the investigator, they're focused on asking and learning. They become obsessed with understanding the other side's world. What are their real priorities? What constraints are holding them back? What does a win actually look like for them? Answering those questions is how you really win.
This quote absolutely nails it. Negotiation isn't a persuasion game, it's an information game. The person who performs better isn't the one who sticks with what they already know, it's the one who's a master at obtaining new information. It's not about being the best talker, it's about being the best listener.
So how does an investigator actually operate? Well, it comes down to 5 core principles. It all starts with asking why, over and over again, to get past their stated position to their real interest. Then, you actively hunt for their constraints, the things holding them back, and you see if you can help solve their problem. This reframes their demands not as obstacles, but as clues to what they secretly value. From there, you can build alliances, and crucially, you never stop digging, even when a deal looks dead.
Here's a perfect example. A developer demanded huge penalties if a project was late. Now, instead of fighting it, the builder investigated. He asked why, and he realized the developer didn't just fear being late, they were desperate to be early. So he proposed a genius deal. Okay, I'll accept your penalty, but if I finish early, you pay me a bonus. They both got what they truly wanted, all because he turned a demand into a clue.
Okay, so adopting the investigator's mindset is the first giant step. But how do you actually put it into action? Let's look at a practical toolkit you can use to manage the negotiation process from start to finish.
So in every negotiation, there's this hidden layer happening. It's called the shadow negotiation. And it's not about price, it's about how you're negotiating. To manage this, you've got 3 types of moves:
Power moves are for when the other party won't even engage. You might, for example, put a price on their inaction. Process moves are about shaping the agenda, like seeding ideas in one-on-one chats before the big meeting. And appreciative moves are all about building trust and breaking stalemates, often by finding a clever way to help the other side save face.
Let's look at that BATNA concept again. Your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. This is a powerful tool. There's a story about a company selling a division valued at around $7 million. But instead of just focusing on their own numbers, they investigated the buyers. They realized they had two fierce rivals at the table. And for each of them, the worst possible outcome was watching their competitor get the asset. By understanding the other side's BATNA, they turned a $7 million asset into a bidding war that ended at a staggering $45 million.
A huge mistake is thinking the deal is done when the contract is signed. Nope, that's just the starting line. Great negotiators plan for reality. They start with the end in mind, asking a year from now, what could have gone wrong? They actively help the other side prepare, because if their team can't deliver, your deal fails. And most importantly, they make sure both implementation teams hear the same brief together, so everyone understands the true intent behind the words on the page.
All right, let's talk about the end game. These are the concepts that separate the truly great negotiators from the merely good ones. It's about seeing the unwritten rules of the game and having the discipline to know when the best move is simply to walk away.
So get this, in every single deal, you're actually signing two contracts. The first is the economic contract. That's the letter of the deal, the price, the terms, all the clauses on the paper. But there's a second invisible one, the social contract. That's the spirit of the deal, the unwritten expectations about trust, communication, and how you'll solve problems together.
So think of it this way. The economic contract is about the what, the terms, the price, the document itself. The social contract is all about the how, the relationship, the trust, the shared understanding of how you'll actually work together when things inevitably don't go according to plan. You can have a perfect document, but if that relationship is broken, the deal will fail.
And if you want to see the cost of getting this wrong, look no further. The massive merger between Deutsche Bank and Dresdner Bank was economically sound, but it collapsed spectacularly. The reason? One side broke an unspoken promise about a key division, completely violating the social contract. The moment that trust was broken, the entire $1.25 trillion deal was dead.
So when is it time to walk away? You have to be watching for the red flags. Is the other side being evasive or uncooperative when you try to do your homework? Are the projected synergies so optimistic they look like a total fantasy? Has the price crept past that walkaway limit you set before you got emotional? And maybe the most important question of all, is there a fundamental mismatch in your cultures? Are your social contracts just incompatible? If the answer is yes, you have to be willing to walk.
Ultimately, one of the most powerful negotiation insights doesn't come from a boardroom at all. It comes from hostage negotiation. In even the highest-stakes situations, it's not about forcing a win. It's about understanding a fundamental human need: pride. As this quote shows, if you can offer the other side a way to maintain their dignity, to save face, they'll almost always be more willing to find a solution. It's about the human element.
So the next time you walk into a negotiation, don't ask yourself what you're going to sell. Instead, ask yourself this one question: what am I going to investigate? The answer could change everything.